Which one of your fine minds can identify the item on the table? Professor Stefan Langley stepped aside so that we could better view the small dark gray object. Although I enjoyed arcane rites as a class, I would have enjoyed it a lot more with a different professor at the helm. When it came to me, Langley seemed to bounce between hostile and tolerant with great effort. The feeling was mutual. Sarissa's hand shot up. It appears to be flint, Professor. That is the base substance, yes. His gaze swept across the room. If you were to stumble upon one of these on a mission, would you consider it evidence? You mean evidence that someone with Earth-based magic was involved? Saris queried. I mean evidence of any kind, Professor Langley said in his usual clipped tone. It reminds me of a Native American arrowhead, I said. My mother and I used to hunt for them when we lived in the Northwest, but they were usually made of obsidian, not flint. 6 months in Washington, 6 months in Oregon. Arrowhead hunting had always been a fun outing for me because it meant searching near creeks and rivers. Put me close to a water source, and I was a happy little girl. Professor Langley observed me coolly. An arrowhead, yes. Incredibly, you're on the right track, Miss Morrow. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes at his inclusion of incredibly. He tended to find clever ways to insult me, even when he was complimenting me. A rare gift. He held up the piece of flint for inspection. You would want to touch the narrow end of this. Anyone care to hazard a guess as to the reason? Danny frowned. Poison? Exactly, Mr. Graff. He began to move from row to row, pausing long enough for students to examine the flint. This is called an elf bolt. There was a time when they were used as weapons by elves. They dipped the tips of the arrowheads in hemlock or other poisons before going into battle. One scratch, and their foe was defeated. He punctuated his statement by pretending to nick his arm with the elf bolt. I raised my hand. If they don't do it anymore, then why is it relevant to AMF missions? I knew there was a branch of the Agency of Magical Forces that handled stolen artifacts. Class B. Maybe that was the reason. Professor Langley came to stand in front of me, and I was fairly certain the temperature dropped about 10 degrees. Enlighten me, Miss Moldark. I beg your pardon. Miss Morrow. What is the name of this class? I flinched at the mention of my father's name. Arcane Rites, I replied tersely. And what does that phrase mean to you? Ancient rituals and practices, I said. And have I not just described an ancient practice? He asked pointedly. Yes, but if I saw one of these as a warden in the field, wouldn't I just think it was from a long time ago and keep moving? When I found my first arrowhead in Oregon, it wasn't as though I'd just missed a Native American hunting party.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.